Hello everybody, welcome to Beelzebub's Buns channel. We are looking at Gears of War 4. This is going to be available to everybody on October 11th, but if you get the Ultimate Edition, you can go ahead and play now. And yes, I had to get the Ultimate Edition. Why? Because I really like the Gears of War series. And amongst all the games that have come out lately with Ultimate Editions or Limited Editions, I think I made the right choice in getting the Ultimate Edition for Gears of War. But of course, not everybody will agree, and they'll complain about little things.
Shit, they're gonna mess up my fucking tomatoes!
But what can you expect from a game series that spanned almost over a decade already? Before I get too far into this video, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything in the actual campaign. The only thing that you saw that was spoiled was Marcus Phoenix's tomato garden. Me being somebody who is interested in great stories, I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to amp up the excitement for October 11th, once the standard edition is released to everybody. With that being said, when I talk about the characters or the enemies that you're going to be facing, you can find all this on actual articles that are online. To be honest, I was a bit skeptical when I first saw that you were going to be fighting some robots here, but don't worry, there are also your fleshy, bloody enemies to fight as well. Of course, being a developer for Gears of War, you really have an undertaking of responsibilities, and a lot of people may come away saying, oh, you destroyed the game. With the introduction of new characters, having some old characters come back is a great way to even out the playing field, from the nostalgia-driven players to the new blood, or for the fans that have been around for a while and they're open for change. From what the fans of Gears of War know, that this game is very, very brutal. There's a lot of people that die in this game, but the game still doesn't take itself so seriously, but this is the perfect thing. When a game has some brutality to it, it needs to even it out with some comedy. And this game is actually really funny. There's a bit of some edgy comedy in here, there's also some slapstick dialogue, but they're put in at the right time. However, this isn't the first Gears of War game to have comic relief. The first Gears of War, it was a bit more, they destroyed our city, oh no, Colonel Hoffman's giving us orders and I don't trust him. You can see that they've kept the brutality and maybe even increased it some more. The story, however, is more engaging, I feel. There are articles that are published saying that the Gears of War 4 campaign runs at 30 frames per second. While this is true, it still looks really, really good, and it plays really well. In the multiplayer, the developers were able to push it up to 60 frames per second. When I went into multiplayer, I did see, oh, okay, it does feel smoother, but that doesn't hinder your experience in the campaign. In the campaign, you're going to be seeing robots bursting into flames and particles going everywhere. When this happened, in my experience, I didn't suffer from frame rate lag. If video games nowadays are trying to nail 60 frames per second, but they gotta cut out a lot of detail, I don't really see the point. I suppose a first-person shooter that's trying to nail 60 frames per second in the campaign as well as multiplayer will probably feel the best. But if they gotta cut out a whole bunch of detail in the campaign, then that's where it really suffers. Yet the Gears of War series, being a third-person shooter, it can get away with the 30 frames per second and still look really good. At least I think it looks really good. I've been eating my carrots, so I've been making sure my eyes are good to go. In fact, I've been eating carrots so much that I went over to my friend's house. They had a bunny, and I took the carrots from that bunny because I wanted them, and the bunny ended up dying. But the moral of the story is that my eyes are good. 100%, 50-50, baby. As we transition into the multiplayer gameplay, I just want to leave this out by saying that this campaign is really fun, and I can't wait for the majority of people to enjoy it on October 11th. As I'm almost halfway done with the campaign itself, it's been a wild ride so far, so I just can't wait to play co-op with some of you guys online. The sounds of the guns, the familiar Gears of War controls. You know what I'm talking about, the snappy feel of entering and looking out of cover, it has all stayed in Gears of War. I've said it before in other third-person shooter games that have the whole cover-to-cover system, games such as The Division. I feel other games try to make it feel too natural when it comes to your character getting into cover and shooting out of cover or traversing the cover. They try to make it feel too smooth and seamless, where you as the player may have a certain direction that you want to go in. You may want to move from one cover to the next, or you may want to just shoot from cover, but then it thinks you want to traverse around it, therefore you're exposed and you get killed. Oh god, wait for it, wait for it! Oh!
Rated M for mature.
The Gears of War series seems to have this strict rule for the controls while you are in cover, but this makes it easy to understand for the player. Whether you just want to poke out a little bit to shoot from cover, or if you want to move from one cover piece to another, or if you just want to dive out of cover, you can do that easily without getting too frustrated. However, you can see how Gears of War fans such as myself and many others will be a bit jaded when they go from one third-person shooter with the cover-to-cover system to another game that is not Gears of War. Now, of course, there are some that will say, oh, I'm the best at any kind of game. I know the controls for every single one. I know how to differentiate them all. Hey, great, good on you. But there are some of us that want that Gears of War feel, the robust, snappy controls that Gears of War has. The problems transpire when other game companies want to mimic the gimmick, that's pretty fun to say, of Gears of War. When they want to take what Gears of War does, but make it their own, that's when us gamers of Gears of War have problems. When it's the heat of the moment and you're in this firefight, you're trying to fool the enemy by popping out one side of the piece of cover and then trying to traverse the cover to get around them, to flank them. Well, this all comes down to getting used to the control schemes of a new video game. However, you can see how us, as the third-person shooters that use the cover-to-cover system, get excited whenever there's a new Gears of War game out. Or if you're a medical student learning about the human anatomy and what a shotgun does to somebody at point-blank range. Or you're just a psychopath. There are many great things Gears of War 4 offers. The classic game types are here to enjoy. I like execution myself. But the gameplay you see here is King of the Hill. I chose this because I wanted constant action for my video, whereas execution and other few game types like that are very methodical, just like Gears of War has always been. You may also add in bots, so you can have a few good warm-up games before you play with actual players around the world. You can also use this to get used to the new maps in Gears of War 4, and it's also an alternative if you want to feel like you're playing Gears of War multiplayer without having to actually play with other people. There is of course the new Horde mode, which is an awesome game mode. Playing this game mode with other people is where it's at. It is a fun game type. You can either play with friends or strangers, and either way you're going to be working together. I know it's weird to play with strangers, but what's stranger than strangers is the Stranger Things on TV. I know a lot of Gears of War fans, a lot, not all, will really like the Horde mode. It is so strange. I mean, cool. So cool. But what's strange about this channel is I also do creepypastas, so if you like creepypastas and you like gameplay videos, this is the channel to subscribe to. Thank you guys, I'll see you on October 11th. My gamer tag, it's a strange one, Ghibli Giblets. I'll see you guys online, we could do some co-op, we could do some game types. Either way, thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next one.
God damn it! I just tuned it up!
In the house of upside down, cellar's top floor, attic's ground. In the house of upside down, laughing cries and smiles frown. In the house of upside down.